Okay, in the previous video, we learned about the disease. We have three main types. And now we quickly recap a bit about this is the key problem, swollen wall and tick. In your textbook, it doesn't say about the mucus. For the chronic bronchitis, you see the ETs one, it means inflammation, yeah? And then what is the main symptom? Continuous coughing. Yes. Emphysema, what is a key problem is damaged alveoli. Because of what? Because the damage wall. And this lead to the less total surface area, which lead to the less gaseous exchange. When you have less gaseous exchange, shortness of breath. You cannot get enough oxygen, right? I cannot get enough oxygen. I want more oxygen. So this is the symptom lah. So this one is a question you can try. So for the first one, chronic bronchitis. When you see it is inflamed, swollen, and clogged. Yes, it is. You say inflamed, you can also. This is a bronchiole, so you cannot state the mucus is produced because it's just one only the bronchiole. What is affected? Bronchiole is affected, and what actually happens to the bronchiole? You say it is inflamed, and this is the additional one. This is the additional you can memorize, yeah. And explain asthmatic bronchial walls, swollen and thickened. So swollen and thickened, yes, and then the airway becomes narrower, yes. Oh, for this is important. This is important is for the inhaler. So this is important for the inhaler. How does the usage of inhaler help an asthmatic patient to breathe? So how? This is the example of inhaler. So you need to know that inhaler, it opens up the bronchial tubes. So for example, you can see that for all of the disease here, it actually reduce what? It actually reduce the airway. It actually reduce the gaseous exchange. It actually reduce the airway. You see, it become narrow. For this, for the asthma and also the chronic bronchitis, the airway become narrow. The airway become narrow so that I use inhaler to help me to open up. Just now I narrow this one. Now I open up for more air can flow easily so that more gaseous exchange can occur. Yeah. So and then yep, emphysema because of what? Because the alveoli was damaged, surface area reduced, gaseous exchange less. Yes, and this one is a must know. Like for the smoker one, why it can why you see smoker always cough? Why smoker always cough? Because of what? Because of it produce more mucus. Because the heat generated from the cigarettes dry up. Okay, dry up. I dry up and I damage the cilia. When my cilia is damaged, so it produce more mucus. Or easy. If you smoke, it produce more mucus. When you have more mucus, you automatically want to expel it out. You automatically want to expel it out. So that what is the method for you? You coughing. You only can cough to expel more mucus. So this is actually like the accurate because the heat will damage the cilia. When the cilia is damaged, more mucus is formed. And then for the smoker, what is the another illness? So you can see that what's a lung cancer because of what? Because cigarette contains carcinogens. Carcinogens is the substance that can cause what? Substance that cause cancer. Okay, so explain the effects of tar that's present in cigarette smoke. So cigarette contain tars, and we know that. So will deposit tar will deposit on the surface of the alveolus. So when and this will cause reduce in total surface area of what? Reduce in total surface area of alveolus, and then will reduce what? Less gaseous exchange. So when less gaseous exchange, less airflow, and you will feel what? Breathless. So you see how I go. this is how I going. How I going. When tar is deposited, you see the total surface area of alveolus will decrease, right? And then less gaseous exchange, less airflow. You feel short briefness. Short briefness. This is how I going. So this one you can try yourself. You can try, and then the answer is in here. The answer is in here. You can try. Yes, that's all for the whole chapter. What we learn in this chapter is just simple lah. It's just simple. It just teach us how we breathe. How we breathe. Volume decrease, pressure increase. Volume decrease, pressure increase, and vice versa. And also it teach us about the adaptation. Adaptation in order to optimize the gases exchange. And yeah, one thing. Just now I mentioned about the volume decrease, pressure increase, right? So this is about the pressure lah. It's all about the pressure. You have seen, right? You have seen the partial pressure. The partial pressure. Because the gas what? The gas will diffuses from the high partial pressure to the low partial pressure. It's always about the pressure lah. And how to introduce and how you induce the pressure is because of the difference in the volume. It's difference in the volume. So yes, simple only. When you breathe, it involves what? It involves your lung. And in your lung, you have alveolus, you got a network of blood capillaries, all these things. Yep. If you understand it, you definitely can memorize easily. Yeah. So memorization is like a basis, like understanding is a basis for your memorization. If you can if you can understand it, you memorize so fast. Believe in me. Okay, that's all for today's video. Thank you.